right?
A minute. Welcome back, everyone.
How many
Welcome
weeks has
back.
it been?
Welcome us back. We welcome ourselves back.
How many weeks has it been? Like 3 weeks, 4 weeks? Oh,
Well, maybe three, maybe three, maybe four, maybe three.
I
I
think
think
three.
maybe three because it was like I remember you were getting prepared to go out of town,
Mm,
so I think it's been about three.
yeah.
But
Yeah, and I
anyway,
had the other events to go. So I had like a back to back, like every weekend for 3 weeks in a row. Every weekend I had to do something or whatever. So that's probably why I got sick too. Like I was telling you another reason why I think I got sick when I came back from Atlanta. But I had just been going and going and going. You know what I mean? So
yes,
anyway, how have you been? What have you been up to?
I've been great, man. I've been up to some just work. Work's been getting work out of me, but
Mhm.
I am reminded that I'm just grateful that like there's certain things that we have there's certain things that we have available to us that other people don't in this world. And so I'm happy to be safe, like whatever safe means. And you know what I mean by that. I could explain, but we
No,
haven't
I
got
feel
time
you.
for
I
all that.
feel you.
But yeah, blessed, hashtag blessed. That's how I'm doing. So
Yeah. Have you been looking at anything that has been going on in the world?
no. No, I'm joking. That's so funny. Yes, I have.
Okay,
There's
so we'll
been a
have
lot.
to get into some of that.
Guys,
Um,
it's a lot happening. Like I sometimes I think that it's unfair to us to have to like I think maybe there's the same amount of stuff that has always gone on in the world, but we just weren't privy to all of it. But we have the sort of disadvantage of being privy to everything, so it's overwhelming. Like we know everything, we know a lot of stuff that's happening in the world because we have access to it, which is good. I think there's good to it too. So,
I
but
think
there's
it's a bit of both. Like I think yes, certain things were probably already happening, but we just would not know about it right away. But then I think there's also a level of extra stuff happening due to the access that we have to stuff. And
yeah.
so it's like working together and there's so many things happening at once or whatever. But before we get into that, have you watched anything good on TV lately?
Have I watched anything good on TV? Like I don't think so.
Okay, so everybody's talking about the Tyler Perry movie that came out on Prime.
I have seen people
Okay,
talking about that.
you're gonna have to watch it. It's a lot of mixed reviews. Like some people are like, "Oh my god, another Tyler Perry movie," and then some people are like, "Hey, that was actually good." So you gotta watch that so we could.
I've heard so many things about like this is the Bacon Good one, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, about her performance and how they believed it, and so I do need to watch that. I've been
Yeah,
having
because we have to discuss. We have to discuss. Um,
okay. I got you on that. I'm gonna watch that. What else is out there have that you've been watching? Like as far as that stuff.
really that's it because like I said, for the past 3 weeks I have been doing something. I did the Mud Girl run. I went to the Black Girl Health Fair. Um, and I have to talk about that because that was good. But I'll do a separate video about that because I want to really kind of get into depth about how it was and like what kind of information they offer and how I hope that people are having these in other cities, right?
Yeah.
Or look for it and then you can go to those
Hey,
things
fourth
because it was
quarter.
a fourth quarter because it was a really great experience. But and then I did the Mud Girl run, which was crazy, and I got talked into signing up for next year already, but I got to go back and double check because I don't know if I bought my ticket because I was just like, do I want to do that again?
It's
But
funny how that happens.
and then I went to the podcast summit with
Yes, I did.
Shans and Donnie Wiggins, David Shans and Donnie Wiggins. All right, so we have to discuss that because you were able to see part of it as well virtually.
Yes. What a rush. Let's just
Listen,
go.
and I'm not even usually excited about stuff like that, like people going to conventions about certain things or whatever. But I am so glad that I was a part of it. I'm so glad that I got to witness it go down because there was a lot of good things learned and a good. Oh man, the people. Tasha K was supposed to be there, and I want to say that Tasha K missed out. She really should have part of like she would have wanted to be tied to this because he kind of made history, and the people that were there speaking, all of the stuff was good, and it's something that nobody else is doing on his level. So she couldn't make it for whatever reason, and I was like, well, we didn't really miss out. She would have probably given us some good information, based on her experience or whatever. But I feel like the speakers who were involved in this, they really, I mean, even Willie was sitting in the audience with his notebook. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was a really good event. It was a really good event. So,
Everybody has a lot to learn about podcasting, even podcasters, because it's not, I mean, it's not terribly old. It's not terribly new, but it's not ancient. So it's not
mm-hmm,
like radio where it's like we already know everything there is to know about radio.
mm-hmm,
This is something new, and with our new technology access, where most people have access to content, this is a different space. Also, I just have to say something about podcasts, and I think people sleep on. It is like the radio in a way, because it's something that you can do while you have going while you're doing other things. And I've been noticing more recently that I'll opt towards like listen to a podcast when I'm like either working out or doing something like that, because it's
driving.
engaging my brain, right? So it's like,
Mm-hmm,
oh, it's making me think, it's making me excited, or making me wonder, or ideate. And it's more, songs are great, songs can get you through, but it's nothing like encountering new thoughts. And what I realize is that when I'm listening to a podcast, like let's say I'm on a treadmill walk or something like that, it goes by faster because my brain is engaged. It goes by and I'm like, oh, it's over, because I was like really thinking and drinking in whatever
mm-hmm.
information. So podcasting it is kind of getting slept on, but I think a lot of people also think that it's harder than it's not easy, but it's not hard. It's not that hard. And I love it when Chance and Donnie come talking about podcasting, because they're just great. I just love the both
I
of them.
mean, the reason why they are so successful is that we actually watch them do what they're teaching people to do. And usually when you see things like, oh, come to this convention or whatever, you're going to get just a little bit of information, just enough to make you feel like you know what you're doing, but then there's something missing. This was not that. So it's like, and then if you, like I said, if you follow them, they have done everything that they're telling you to do. Like there's examples of them starting out and doing it, and how they leverage their businesses, her as a business coach, and they just showed you what they were doing while they did it. So this event was, first of all, it was on the 4th of July weekend, right? People were saying, why would you do that? Why would you have something on the 4th of July? He had to worry about the speakers showing up. He had to worry about people actually coming to attend. And it was over 1,100 people, 1,100 either already podcasters that want to learn more, new podcasters, and it was a bomb experience. And I really like the way that, if y'all don't know who David Shands and Donnie Wiggins are,
Yeah,
have
sure.
to follow the Social Proof podcast, because he coaches entrepreneurs. She's a business coach. He is the podcast king because he actually built his podcast just right in front of our eyes or whatever. But the dynamics of them together, they're actually helping people with the information that they're given, right? And so that's what's really good about them. And then the people that you meet because of them, like they introduce all of their, successful entrepreneur friends as well. Isaac Hayes the third was there. CJ from, if anybody knows who Eric Thomas, ET the hip hop preacher is, his right hand guy, he was there. He gave great information with the CEO legs. I'm like, okay, he had a lot of information to give as well. But it was just a great experience. B Simone was there. Her story was good. Like her portion was really good because Donnie's a great interviewer and she knows how to get right to the questions. She recorded her podcast right there live in front of us, right? And she didn't start that podcast until they were like over 300 episodes of the Social Proof podcast. So, and then now he's doing the hot seat where he's, taking the entrepreneur and really drilling them about their business right there. So now that has a separate page. So it was just really good. I was inspired. I took Earl because I feel like he is in the generation of this. Like, this is what they're doing. He watches, Casanat. I think I'm saying his name right. Casanat is like 24 years old or whatever. And he has been like streaming just turning on his camera and streaming whatever's going on. He'll have guests sometimes or whatever. He's getting into a little bit of controversy or whatever, but they understand, for some reason they understand it better than us, right? They understand how the digital stuff goes. So he was in the room to be able to talk to some people. If anybody knows who Finesse is, Jonathan, I think his name is Dupaton, but his name is Finesse. He was there. He spoke or whatever. Of course, my son went to go see what he was talking about. They had vendors. They had a whole bunch of Black vendors. People were collaborating. It really wasn't about the people going to necessarily hear the speakers speak. It was really about the people who were attending collaborating with each other, because you never know who can help you with your podcast, right? You're trying to get in front of somebody else's audience. You trying to, get in front of some, you just switch audiences, and you might have some expertise that this person might need. So that's kind of what it's really all about, because even when you look at the people who were speaking, they're all like, that's what they did. They went to each other's platforms and they supported each other to help, to help build it up. But it was a really great experience, and I'm glad that I went. And they're all like really, really nice in person.
I imagine that like I've seen, obviously I've met Shans, but I imagine that everybody's exactly like I think they are, because the one thing is they're all together. So it's like, if they're not who I think they are, then they're not who they are together. Right. Mm-hmm. So then they would have to have that. But when you explain how like Marcus Roger was down there, like, and like beefing them more from the stage. And I mean, like, these are all the people that Willie Moore Jr., I used to listen to his show every day after work, his radio show. And I listen to his podcast from time to time now, but like, everybody's learning about this. Even the people who are celebrities, who you would think, oh, they must have a team or they have this all figured out. This is it's not a new space, but it's something that it's emerging. So the space is expanding.
That looks like us teaching us how to do it. That was the most important thing that I took away from this event, because I watched one, like I said, it was the 4th of July weekend. I watched the room be packed out with over 1,100 people. I also watched the way that the people like Willie Moore Jr., Marcus Rosier, Donnie Wing, all of the people, Neo, all of the people who were involved, I watched how they supported him, right? Because Marcus came out to say something, to give him his flowers or whatever. But the way that Donnie introduced him in the beginning, it's just, you can just feel the respect and admiration and friendship that she has with him, right? She gave him his flowers. He came out in his suit and his sneakers. I just thought it was a really great event. And it just wasn't really about like, oh, start this podcast. It was really just seeing people do something that they started out with the thought like, hey, I should do this. And it actually came to fruition. And so let me talk about this too, because they gave you a swag bag. In the swag bag, hold on, let me get it. They gave you a swag bag, and they had David had like one of his books that he wrote in there. There was like some of those bracelets with Sleepers for Suckers on it or whatever. And there was like some other things, but then there was also a water bottle, right? Now I put these stickers on here, but it was a white water bottle with a white little thing. It's purple right now because the person who started this is a Black man who started this company. It's called Supplement. Let me see if I can put it in the thing. This is the name of the company. It's a Black-owned company. The first that has insulated water bottles. He started the company because we didn't have any Black-owned companies, right? So he sponsored these. So everybody who bought a ticket got one of these, right? If you came in person, because I tried to get y'all's. Yeah. They're not here. So, but then he had a table with extra straps in different colors and a whole bunch of like stickers, like this one says "Stick to the Plan,"
Yeah.
and some of them said like "Podcast Summit" and stuff like that, right? And so I was like, "This is a bomb gift in a swag bag."
Yeah.
So that's one of the things I want to say. Also, there was an app when you got there. You downloaded the app. The app had like the agenda in it. It had you could put your bio in it and put your information in it, so like all of the attendees could find each other. It had all of the speaker stuff in there. It was like everything you needed, and it was also this little virtual photo thing that you just take a picture and then it just goes into the app or whatever. So they did really good on this event. Not only did they put the event together, it's just I was just looking at the little inner workings of, oh, they thought about this, they thought about that, they thought about this. Then there was a room. They had breakout rooms and stuff, but they had a room with these little pods. And I should have sent you the video, but in the room they had these little pods which were sponsored, I think, by Ecamm, because Ecamm is like StreamYard for Apple or whatever. It's supposed to be so much better. But you could go in there, you could meet somebody and say, hey, I want to do an interview with you right now. And they had like a whole setup for you to put your phone right there, plug your USB in. There were lights and everything. All you needed to do was just put your phone in there and start recording and talking to the person or whatever. So a couple of people I saw grab Dave to get him an interview with him or whatever. But it was just a really good event. And I'm glad that I went. I'm glad that I got to because it was something about seeing it all come together. When we start, because when we started watching them, they were just starting the podcast. You know what I'm saying? They weren't even doing half the stuff that they're doing right now.
Yeah. It's so awesome to see it. And then, okay, so from my perspective, I wasn't able to go this year, but we had already purchased tickets. And on the second day, which was like Friday the 5th, I think it was it was a Friday. And I was so bummed out that I couldn't go. Oh, so sad. But then, but I was happy that King got to stay with me. But then on the second day, I got this message. It was like an email or something. And so, I got to get out of this, guys, but I'm still here. I'll roll over and I'll look at my messages, and it said like, surprise, second day access, logins for virtual access to the summit. I was like, oh, I was so excited. It was like Christmas morning or something. I was so excited. And I went in there and it was like it said in the email for the first few hours. So I was like, oh, okay, this is going to end. So I remember I just went and sat down and was like, okay. So we got in there and I remembered the one guy who did all the Neos, or I think he probably works with all of them and does like the virtual stuff. I forget his name is Michael or something. I can't remember. But
I think it's Michael. Yeah.
He was back there. And so it's like so funny because it's like, oh yeah, I know all the team and stuff. So anyway, from my perspective, I was so elated to be able to log in. And then he told us at some point, like, hey, everybody, log in. Da, 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 da. And he was playing the music and he was like showing the people who were dancing. And he was like, y'all going to say hi? He was like, it's just us. Don't worry. And then he was like, well, we're going to get in the big room with everybody and they're going to show us on the screen. So make sure you wave or whatever. Make sure everybody waves. And I was like, oh my gosh, everybody's going to see us. I was like, I wonder if y'all are going to see us. So I started waving. And then I think you said you could see me. I was so excited.
From my perspective, let me jump in right here. That was Friday. And I remember I left Earl in the room and I was like, I'm about to go downstairs. So I go down there and they were playing Before I Let You Go or something, the Beyonce version or whatever. So I walked in and I was like, oh my God, this is a vibe. So I had pulled my camera out and then I was like, what are they showing on the screen? I just saw like little Zoom boxes and stuff like that. And I was like, I wonder what this is or whatever. And then I got your text saying I'm virtual. And I looked up and I was like, I started looking for you and I saw you. And I was like, oh my God, I can see her.
That's so dope.
That's so cool because it was just a vibe in there. You know what I'm saying? And there was this guy that was like legally blind or whatever. And he was sitting in the back. And something transpired where he ended up like standing up with the microphone and stuff. And he mentioned that he was, his only issue was struggling to hear because he was in the cheap seats, right? And so it was this back and forth between him and David. They ended up passing the mic to his wife because David was like, I can't believe you're going to tell me that it's my fault. No, he was like, I got to fix your problem or whatever. But then his wife spoke. and I can't even repeat what she said word for word, but she basically covered him. And basically, she was like, he's legally blind. A lot of times people don't see him. And she just kind of just, I don't know, just turned the whole thing around. And all of us felt kind of like, because at first we was like, what's happening here? But then, it ended up that they brought two people, gave up their VIP seats to have him and his wife come up like to the front or whatever. So that was pretty cool. It was just like an energy of a positive vibe in there, right? Everybody was just like, oh, even when I got back to Maryland, there was a girl that I was sitting beside her that day. And when we got back to Maryland on Saturday, we was about to leave the airport or whatever. We was waiting for the shuttle, and so she had walked past. And she was like, "Wasn't we sitting together?" And blah blah blah. So then we kind of exchanged information, but it was just such a positive thing or whatever. But like I said, I don't usually gravitate to stuff like that because I don't feel like they usually give you all the valuable information. They just give you enough to keep you trying to sell you products. But that is not what Podcast Summit was. That's not what Social Proof does. They actually, I don't, like I said, it was just a great event. Everybody was, I don't know, everybody that was there. I feel like I said, Tasha K missed out. She would have wanted to have her name attached to this event. We did not miss out on her information because it was such a great event that it was just like, oh man, you should have been here. This is where you should have been.
Yeah.
So, but anyway.
It was so rich and full, and like I didn't even get to participate in day one. However, day two was so jam packed, and I thought to myself, I thought it was so amazing that they made it virtual for us to enjoy. I don't even know why they did that or why they thought to do that, because if you bought a ticket, like nobody ever said that it was going to be virtual, from what I can remember. Mm-hmm. Nobody ever said that was going to be an option. So I wasn't expecting it, and I knew full well that I was buying a ticket with the risk that I didn't have everything together and maybe I wasn't going to go. But I didn't think I wasn't going to go, but I knew I didn't have everything, booked and all that stuff. But I'm so glad, and this is what I was saying after the fact, because that second day, even virtual, they ended up letting us be in there all day. And what happened was all of the rooms that there were sessions in, like there was a room about merch, there was the room when B. Simone was interviewed, and then there was a room when Steve Harvey's daughter was talking, Brandy was talking about marketing.
Interviewing or something like that.
And there was a lot of things going on, and it was all valuable information. Like, it was so good. I was taking so many notes, and it was so seamless because I guess the same way y'all could walk in and out of rooms, we could just click in and out of the Zoom room. Like, there were times where I'll be like, oh, I think I want to be in this one. And then I'll be like, oh, let me click in there and see what they're talking about. Like, I clicked back into the B. Simone room a couple times, and then I clicked, but it was like, everything was so valuable. You just, it doesn't matter what you get. It's like going to Thanksgiving at your favorite relative's house. Doesn't matter what you get on your plate. It's going to be good. It's going to fill you up. I feel like I caught the vibe, even though I wasn't even in the room, so I know it was like swelling with love. That's the one thing about love too, is that it just expands and it grows and it like just touches other people, and it's just beautiful. I just could feel that love, and I love it when Black people get together because we could do anything. There's no barrier of entry, I want to say, with podcasting and with YouTubing. Like, it's a very low barrier of entry. Like, you can start out where you are and be okay. But specifically with podcasting, it's a way to really become an expert at something. It's a way to build a career for yourself. And I'm so glad that he's making this space, or that they are making this space for people of color to feel like, oh yeah, I'm going to step up and take my place here. Because so often when times change, especially like with tech and stuff, like, you didn't see a lot of Black people when the .com boom was happening. We've never been on the, on the front lines of tech. Even you see Isaac Hayes talking about his app Fanbase, which I want to talk about in a second. And it's like, there aren't a lot of people of color, specifically Black people, in a lot of these spaces. And so it's a beautiful thing to see all of these people working towards their dreams and learning how to develop this like skill and career opportunity that is podcasting.
No,
So
let me jump into and piggyback on that because you're right. And the thing is like, yeah, podcasting is um not new, but it's not ancient, like you said. And
yeah.
there's things that I mean, there's it's not like rocket science, but you know, there's a little bit more to it than being like, oh, I'm about to just record this podcast. Like, and the way that the information that he gave, and like I said, that we watched them do it. We literally watched them do it. You know what I'm saying? It's like I said, these things sometimes people are just getting you in to sell you something, but that was not that. So, like I said, if at any rate, I recommend you watch the Social Proof podcast because they've probably interviewed every entrepreneur out here, right? And there's a bunch of valuable information in that, and just those two people, Donnie and Dave, just have something to offer just by listening to their conversations. That's what I would say. Um, and so I'll leave it like that. I think we've talked about that to to the T, but it
I'm
was
so
great today.
excited, and I just, yeah, we're not going to stop talking about them, but we'll stop talking about it for now. I did say this, and I'll say it publicly, that I think I'm so grateful that I bought my ticket, even though I wasn't able to be there in person. Well, partly because I got the virtual access. Okay, thank you. But then, secondly, because if anything that I gave was able to help them put this on, I'm so glad, right? Like how selfish it would have been of me if I could have gone back months before when I purchased it and realized like,
And
oh, you're not going to be able to go, so you shouldn't buy it. I'm so glad that didn't happen because whatever was contributed by us buying those tickets went into them putting on this event, and more events like this need to happen for us. More events like this need to happen to spark not even just like inspiration, but for to people to come together and get reinforced that they have capabilities and there's power in community. So
yeah, I like I said, the last thing I'll say is it was a really good event from a standpoint of how knowing how to put events on like that. You know, bravo.
bravo,
Like
bravo,
knowing
guys.
what it takes, and like you said, I know they went to them and was like, "You're not gonna have a lot of people here." They probably got a really good deal in that hotel because the hotel probably was like, "Well, we need people," because they
Mhm.
didn't get a food package, and that means that everybody in there had to eat. Either the first choice was at the hotel, right? It's already right there, whatever. So that hotel probably made bank. Okay,
Mhm.
so anyway, just looking at it from that standpoint as well, I was just like, "Bravo! They did good. They did good."
Yeah, I'm so
But that.
happy to be here. I'm so happy to be around, and we're gonna hear more from them. Okay, so now we're gonna jump into this ratchetness, y'all. Well, this isn't really ratchet. Earlier this week,
Mm.
actually, guys, I don't even know what day it is. This says 3 days ago, so we'll go with that. Sometime earlier this week, former President Donald Trump was was shot. Wow,
Why'd you say it like that?
because it's so shocking. I mean, okay, listen.
It is
I
pretty
know
shocking. It is shocking.
I would normally have. So Amanda Seals is covering this. She's showing like an event that happened years back where there was a threat of somebody having a weapon, and then she's doing a side by side of footage that people were turning in, showing this shooter that allegedly got. I thought that there was a little bit. I thought it was a little bit dramatic, and the blood on his ear and stuff. I thought it looked a little fake. So I thought that from the beginning, but I always thought that this was weird because why is he standing right in the middle where he got shot, if that's what happened, and skimming somebody's ear? So I never believed it, but you can't go around saying stuff like that because then people think like,
Yeah, no,
oh,
but there
you
was a
believe in
lot of
gravity.
people that came out and said that. And there was this one page that I watched. There's a lady sitting behind him or something, and she apparently like looked like she knew what was about to happen, and she had her phone out and stuff like that. But
I saw that too. And then another thing that somebody pointed out that like the camera people who were getting the footage of him standing up, shaking his fist, they weren't scared for their lives either, which I thought was interesting. They were just right up in there getting the camera footage, and it's like, why are you okay? Like,
Yeah,
so
somebody caught the moment that the bullet was before it, like it was in the air or something. I was like,
I
that's
feel bad that somebody lost their life because I do, and Amanda Seals is making this point. Like, this is we give people like sort of the benefit of the doubt because nobody wants this to happen to anybody,
mm-hmm.
right? But she's just pointing out that there was a whole entire insurrection, you know, recently. So we got to think about that, and then I'm not trying to influence anybody's political choices or whatever, but I just have to say this because it would be, I would be on the wrong side of history if I didn't just point out what I thought. And I do think that this is a very interesting time because I'm not scared either way. Like, I think we'll be fine as far as like, I'm not saying everyone will be fine, but I'm saying like, I know, you know, my people will be fine because we're prayed up. But it's an interesting time when the person who's running for president, one of the people who's running for president, is actually unable to vote, and he's asking other people for votes. So and it's interesting that people are still supporting someone who has been convicted, seeing as how we have been going along with this system our entire lives, like this judicial system. So it's interesting to me that we're now willing to abandon it, and everything that we've been taught is honorable based on that system for this person to win an election. I also think it's really interesting. I mean, not to say that. This isn't going to get too much more political than this. I'm just saying it's interesting. I want to know who I live around. Who are my roommates in America, right?
mm.
If the majority of the people who will cast votes would prefer Donald Trump as their president, I need to know that these people are around me. And that's all I'll say about that.
I mean, but that's all you would know is that they exist. You wouldn't know who they were unless they
Yeah.
were touting it. Well, you might, because a lot of people like to say that. But I saw, and I got to do some more research on the photo that I saw. I was watching somebody else's channel, and they pulled up this like this pie chart of like how many people, how many Democrats voted, how many Republicans voted, and how many independent people voted. And there was more independent people than these two, but not put together, but like, you know, it was more. It was a significant amount of people, right? Like if those people actually voted for one of the Republican candidates or the Democratic candidates, they could have changed a lot. But it's like, what is happening right now? What are we? It's like, I don't even know how to put it because remember when, I don't even know how to put it because Biden is scaring everybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, can
Yeah.
you even do this? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, what's about to happen here? So I feel like this is just no matter what the outcome is going to be something crazy. I feel like
It's wild, and I'm glad you
it
brought that up.
has all the makings of us to like us as Americans, and in that and whatever time frame it's going to be, we'll be sitting here like we were at the beginning of COVID. Like, what the fuck are we in? What is
So
happening?
it's interesting that you said that because my mind went there too when in terms of like how did we get here? There was a comedian that once said, and I can't remember exactly who it was, who said like, can't Americans just be single for a year and weigh our options? I thought about that. I was like, what? Why are we following a tradition that's not serving us today? Like, couldn't there be a vote to just vote next year when everybody can get their things together and come back and think about this real hard? And I think it's
Hilarious.
weird, like I think it's weird that we are going with the tradition so much so that we're willing to let the person um you know like age out of sanity or whatever, right? Consciousness. I'm not trying to be mean or anything like that, but we all see what's happening. The man is aging. Like it's nothing sinister or wrong about it, but we also have to be cognizant that like this is an important job. So like who
No, but historically, like I remember thinking back when McCain was running, I remember thinking, yo, how old is he? Right? Because
yeah.
it's like in I don't know. I would just think that once you get to a certain age, it should be some type of cap on the presidency or whatever, because walking up the steps and like just, calling people the wrong name on national TV and stuff like that. It's like those things are probably normal for an older aging person, but as the president, that kind of gives people worry. Like if you can't
Yeah,
do
it's
these
a cause
things,
for concern.
then you know what I'm saying? I just wonder how bad it really is, because if we're able to see this, right?
Right. If
So
they let this if they let this slip through,
yeah, but
what do
it's
we
too
not see?
late for anybody else to be the candidate. He's it,
That's what
right?
I'm
So
saying. How did we get here? Because somehow some system doesn't work. Like it wasn't built for this. It wasn't rigged for this. And so now we have to take a really good clean look. And so that's how I was like, how do we as humans get ourselves in these
I mean,
situations?
that's why there's a vice president too. So
When we, oh sure,
it works.
and I'm happy. That's exactly why. But how we get ourselves into these systems, though. Sure, there's a vice president, and maybe that's what they were thinking when they set this up like that. But it almost would have made more sense to just then front run her. But I don't.
Well,
I don't
so
know. There's
that
lots of
was my thought.
strategy.
I don't really want to get into a whole deep political
Yeah, we're not
discussion,
good.
but
We're not here to
my
do that.
thought, my thought when the first debate happened was that, like, I mean, I guess the president has to be the one to debate, but I was like, dang, is there a way they could have put her out there instead? Because if it doesn't go the way that they want it to go, then that was her chance, right? But I don't know, like there's not really a better, like I don't. What's the answer? You know what I'm saying? What's the answer? I don't know. So this next 6 months gonna be wild.
Yeah, the reason I even brought this up was because I thought it was interesting that this is one of the only times in life, I'll bet, that these two people said
Mm.
something similar. So Candace Owen actually uh thought that this thing was this rally, this shooting, whatever, was peculiar, and she called it fake as well. She said it didn't believe she didn't believe it. Um so people think it was
Mm-hmm.
staged, people don't believe it. I think it was just I mean, the blood, it
Well,
was just too much. I think it was
so
I don't know.
it was just, I like I said, it's unfortunate that somebody lost their life. Um, but those things happen on accident when people are doing stuff too, right? Like this, it doesn't mean that this wasn't set up. It is just weird. Like working in a place like Candace is saying, right? Working in a place where, or working with people who have security normally, or have to set this stuff up normally, there's just certain things that you look at. A person setting up for a party is going to be looking at the same things, like what's the way to end, what's the way, what are the threats. That was a true statement. And having had some of the jobs that I've had, and the staunch like security and things that I've gotten stopped for, I would just feel like it wouldn't have been like that. That wouldn't have been too much to assume that like that was obviously staged. I don't know. Like it's just because it makes then am I supposed to think, okay, so is your security detail not good? Like you know what I mean? Because there's buildings that are there's regular buildings that are less important than the president, that are more secure than that whole thing. So that's why it is weird. It's weird. It's just weird.
It's weird that somebody didn't come and catch that, and the people literally there with their kids on the lawn were the ones to catch it. Okay, and then I have to say this, and not to be, again, political, but this is just logic. Like, this is just me being a citizen looking. How many events have ended in something fatal? Because I feel like we've said this at least 4 times with things that he's been involved in. Like, it sucks that it got to this because, nobody wanted anybody to get hurt. Nobody wants it to be. But I mean, like, it happened in, like, Charlottesville. Like, it happened a few times. Like, it happened. I don't know. Maybe he wasn't involved in all these things that I'm thinking about because he said there were
Wasn't
good
he the
people on both
person that
sides.
somebody threw a shoe at?
No,
Who got
that was Bush. That was
I
Bush.
thought it was something recent, something else recent.
I
Okay,
don't know, but I mean, people
you
definitely.
gotta be really mad at somebody to take your own shoe off and throw it.
This guy
Right.
has done some damage though, so I get it. But this is not the first time that we're saying this. They're like, oh, it sucks that somebody lost their life. It didn't have to happen like this.
I
Like
know.
we've happened. I don't know how many presidents that happens at events that they do, but like this is and look, I'm not saying anything either about the shooter. Like I don't know anything about the shooter. I don't know anything about the family. All I know is James is telling me that President Biden reached out to the shooter's family, but it was a Trump supporter. The shooter was a Trump supporter, so he reached out, and the people were in the news basically saying like, Biden reached out, but we don't talk to Biden. Da 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 da. da. And they were like, oh, did Trump reach out? And they were like, no. It was like, okay, but
Yeah,
I don't.
why he got shot?
Well, yeah, why would he? I don't understand that
Why
either.
would he reach out to his shooter?
Or their family.
Yeah,
I
why
don't
would he?
know.
Like, hey, your son shot me. You know what I'm saying?
It's a very odd and peculiar thing, but honestly, some of me feels like there's, certainly nothing I could have done about that particular event. So I just decided not to be like watching everything that would come out about it. I told myself I'm gonna come back. I think I sent you a post of this guy that I watched it. He was just like, just skip it until all of the information comes out. Because you're gonna have so many things once once your brain attaches to a storyline, it's like, it's hard to get yourself not to believe something that you believe for whatever reason is not even relevant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
because your brain wants to make logical sense of whatever it is. But I like I said, I think that this is going to be obviously it's not going to be a clear cut situation at the end. We're in for something interesting either way. Like I said, look at the things like he's getting shot at, and this person is Lord have mercy. I'm worried. Okay,
yeah.
this person. I don't know. Like I said, what are we doing here? I don't know. So this next 6 months is going to be interesting, and I know it's going to be. It's not going to be something that, just like the first time, it's not going to be something that is easily completed. We're going to be probably saying the same things, like what's happening right now. So
yeah, too, but I'm still not even worried because some of this stuff is all like agree with Amanda Seals that this voting is definitely not enough, but until we get people in position to understand what is impactful, talking about it is also not enough. So we really got to get some stuff together and figure out how to organize behind like things that are impactful.
Yeah, because it's not really even about the president. Like, are you voting for your city councilman? Are you voting for these judges? Are you like looking at the laws that are going to affect, like the lawmakers, right? Are you looking at those voting, those moments to vote, right? So it's a lot that goes into it or whatever. This is like I said, it's going to be a shit show. It's going to be another shit show.
Mm-hmm.
And I just hope that nothing happens, nothing crazy happens, but it's 2024. We've seen a lot. So
it is going to be a shit show. Listen, we're not going to be able to turn away from it.
Okay, so let me say this too. You know why it's definitely going to be a shit show? Okay, and I laugh when I hear people discussing Donald Trump as if he is not a reality TV star. Like, what are y'all thinking about? He's a reality TV star.
You know what baffles me when people say things that he said, like, well, he said he didn't know, or he said he died. And I'm like, why are you listening? What are you doing?
That's my point of, listen, he's a reality TV star. Okay, guys.
Like, guys, it's a game.
He knows how to get attention. He knows how to be salacious. He knows how to turn these things on and off. So,
and one thing that I don't understand about people who, I won't say people who think like that, because that just seems really, because I think like that. I am people, right? Like I give people benefit of the doubt, and I seek understanding. So I'm not saying that like people are wrong for this, but one thing that that I've been thinking about recently with the whole Trump thing, because I also, like, I think I probably have like a unique take on him. Like, I'm not afraid of him. Like, I don't think he makes wise choices, but I do see why he is appealing, and I do understand the psychology. I understand a couple of different reasons why it would be beneficial for people to have him in office, right? Like, I do understand that, but he also has a lot of damage, and sometimes it's like, you know how sometimes people let their kids play like a little too close to the fire, a little too close to traffic. I feel like that's what's happening with him and their party, and people are like, well, we can get what we want, but then other people are like, but this could end
But I
poorly.
also think that, you know, nobody knows what he could want to do. Not even the people who are his staunch supporters. Like, he should be a wild card to them as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm
He
saying?
certainly is. But one thing that here's what's been on my mind. This is what I wanted to express. It's interesting to me when people put someone like that has like questionable integrity in charge or of something, and then they're shocked when things go wrong, because when someone who you've seen with lapses in integrity, you've seen this person operate this way, so you know what they're capable of you know what they're capable of, right? You know, at least like the depths of whatever they're capable of. You don't even know exactly what they're capable of, because they could do more than that or worse. But if you see them doing that, and you see them, sort of like saying, like, lying or cheating or doing whatever, right? Like, all these things he's been convicted of. He can't do business in the state of New York. Like, that's not a red flag to people. But what I'm saying is, do you think that if it came down to you and him, that he would choose you? So I think it's like something that really people don't understand. He's like a caricature to some people. And it's like, yeah, he's far removed. He doesn't necessarily like walk on your street, whatever. But it's like, if you're willing to put somebody like that in a place of power, like, you have to really understand that, like, you're so, it's dangerous. Like,
Yeah, but you have to think too how much of your what you're saying is based on fact, right? Yeah, he was
Mhm.
convicted or whatever. Somebody has to enforce it or whatever. But like, a lot of the things are a difference in values and morals. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? It's not really like, well, some of the stuff that he says, yeah, I would be like, who would? That's why I said the people who are his staunch supporters should still look at him as a wild card because of some of the stuff that he goes out here and says. But
Mhm.
he is a reality TV star, so he knows how
Yeah.
to get in there,
Yeah,
right? So
get the
a lot
get
of
the
stuff
attention, yeah.
he would say that would be frowned upon, but like to say, okay, that there's nobody else of the same character doing other stuff that we just don't see, like, you know what I mean? It's just like, uh it's hard to figure out because, like I said, how much of it is based on things that we can actually put our finger on
It's
outside of.
hard for me to figure out when you think about like all of these Americans and it came down to these two people, because it's not what we would say is our best. Now, I'm not saying, listen, this is gonna sound bad, but we already here. Let's just be real for a second, everybody. Let's just take our judgmental hats off and just listen to what I'm saying. Hear me out. If you think about like sort of
Let's
like,
take our judgment on hats off, but
yeah,
you just said like this person is black integrity and
I know, right? I'm sorry, but we're here. Listen, I'm
no,
sorry.
I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is.
My thing is, if you think about like sort of like the way a tournament progresses, and it's like, oh, this team got more points than this team, so they go into the next level, and same with this. And so now we're here. Now these two teams who beat the last two teams, compete against each other, and and it's kind of like survival of the fittest. Now you get your wild cards, you get your upsets where it's like, oh, you didn't do well all year and you came and showed
That
out.
used to happen in kickball all the time. They used
Mm-hmm.
to sleep on us, and then it'd be like we'd be that upset and be like we was ready to win.
But
But yeah,
this particular one is interesting because these two people have been around, so it's interesting that it comes down to this because I don't think, I mean, it's not like nobody ever saw this coming. Like everybody, I guess, thought that it could be a possibility, but I don't think anybody ever realized. I got to give one thing to Trump. He'd be waking up. He'd be showing up. He'd be showing up, man.
listen,
I don't know
listen. One thing that
anybody
can
built like
nobody take
that.
away from him is that he knows how to make money. He's a businessman, and he's a fucking reality TV star. Listen.
The stress that is involved with like having a lawsuit, like one ongoing lawsuit going, but for you to have dozens of lawsuits being sued by investigated by the FBI and the Secret Service, and it's a lot, and he's still showing up. So whatever, we'll see what happens. Listen,
All I gotta say is we'll be here to talk about whatever happens because I'm pretty sure it's gonna be something interesting to talk about.
Something else will happen, guys. Okay, so I wanted to talk about this, but I don't know how you feel about it. So this is Tokyo Tony's or actually, what is the show called? Carlisa Tia Kemp. Oh, how about I share the thing first before
Auntie's podcast.
Yeah. What's funny? It's like I don't necessarily follow these people and everything that they do. I actually don't even know if I know who Carlisa is. Auntie podcast. I know that's the name of the thing, but
isn't she Blueface's mother or something?
Oh, is that her? Okay, okay.
I don't know.
Because I know who Tia Kemp is, and I obviously know who Tokyo Tony is. It never dawned on me that to put people together like this, but this is actually a really interesting take on a conversation. And so recently I caught sort of clips of
she's Blueface's mother.
Okay. Clips of Miss Netta and Charles on their show. Let me see if I can pull that up, because what I realize is that they be reading people. I was like, okay, the first time I saw about that this show was coming out, and I was like, I'm intrigued. What I realized was, what I thought to myself was like, oh, I don't want anybody to get into it like the cast members, but they had to know that going in, right? Like that's a possibility.
It's on Zeus.
Yeah. But
and it's Tokyo Tony. Did you see the episode with the game on there?
Yes, I saw a little bit. I saw the clips. I didn't see I saw her get up and shake those things. And then he was like, oh God,
I'll knock that cowboy hat off your head.
I'm not.
But he messed with Angela. So, I said, but he used to mess with her daughter. She kept on making comments about that.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even think about that. Yeah,
she was saying stuff. So
he's been around the block. He's been with a lot of people. But I mean, oh God, guys.
Yeah, but you gotta watch it. She was kind of like flirting back with him too. So people was accusing her of sleeping on him. So it was a bunch of drama.
It could happen. But you know what's funny? When this was the look that I was talking about. Now I saw the clip of this, and so they're sitting there, and Charles is basically, saying that they're talking about how they got together and stuck together, and Tokyo Tony had made this comment about like, oh, but Charles, Miss Netta wasn't your first or your second or your third. And the way he was looking real sly, I was like, oh, why isn't he copping to it? Now, I know later I heard that he did cop to it because I only saw the clips. But I also looked at how Miss Netta looked back at him to see what his reaction is. And I thought that was interesting because I was like, she kind of looked as if she was trying to see herself. Like maybe, I don't know if they have talked about that kind of stuff before, but it was like really interesting to me that she kind of broke her neck a little bit, because I looked at the clip a couple times. I was like, oh, that was a point of interest for you. Like,
I disagree though. I haven't watched it, but this is why I'm just going to disagree.
Okay, go ahead.
Because I feel like she probably knew too. And she probably was like, let me see what this Bama gonna say. They had to have had that conversation before. And here's why. Because of Miss Netta being Miss Netta, I feel like there has to at some point be a conversation of what people like, what we're gonna encounter. So, is this your first time doing this? That had to have come up before. So she probably was just looking to see, let me see what this Bama is gonna say today.
You do not end up with Miss Netta on a first go.
No, at all.
So let's just put that out there. Also, let me just say this. Miss Netta's makeup was bomb. I did notice that. Huh?
I said, I'm gonna have to go back and look at it because
When you look at it, whoever did that face did it right. I mean, the makeup was good. But yeah, the power of makeup. That's what I want to say about that one. The power of makeup is a beautiful thing.
Oh,
I love makeup. The power of makeup on me. You know, the power of makeup on me, people.
Listen, the last time I had some makeup on was your wedding. And yeah, that lady beat my face. I was looking at that picture. I was like, yes. But
yes, I love that.
I just don't have the time and the energy and the no thanks.
All right, guys, listen, this next part of the conversation is going to take us out, but we're going to talk a little bit about probably like 2 more topics just related to health. This is a wonderful just reminder. This is Taraji. I love Taraji in the gym, getting her strength workout on. And I love, let me just say this. I love these videos. I love when people show their workouts. I think it's content that I'm always going to need. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's oversaturated. If that was all that was on the internet, I think I would be okay. I mean, like, obviously you would get bored really quickly, but I never get tired of workout videos because I'm looking at people's form. I'm looking at all types of stuff that's like motivating.
Outfits, you know.
Yeah, all that stuff. And then like, I'm looking at like, you know, just a person doing something that and it's inspiring me like, oh, if they're doing it, I know I can do it too. So I don't know. I love this. She was really giving it up.
Getting it in.
I loved it. But this is really important because another thing that I just wanted to say is we've got some stuff coming for you guys, but this kind of leads into it because I think Taraji's around our age. Maybe she's like
she's maybe a little bit older, and we went to the same high school. You know what I'm saying?
That's
we all
right.
graduated from the same high school, just different years. We wasn't there at the same time. Shout out to Oxon Hill Senior High School. Okay.
But she has got it right because one of the things that I'm learning are really being reinforced. It's like I already knew this, but like we really have to be cognizant in our 40s and 50s on keeping this muscle mass, and because it can also lead to bone density loss. And I'm just learning about this stuff, but I'm going to share everything that I learned because we've seen some of these health issues hit our loved ones and hit people that we know. And I think 40 is really the time, in your 40s and 50s and probably your 60s too, to really get in there and build that stuff back up. It is not too late. I'm already starting to look at like mobility exercises that I want to do for the rest of my life to keep me mobile, because if you let your muscles atrophy, that's when you get those problems. And listen, there's going to be lots of problems just in life. So why add on to it by also not having muscle mass? And then, you know, something happens, you know, when you get older, things happen.
I mean, just to be able to break, right? I was about to say, keep your balance so that you don't fall over. That is something that, you know, like one of the reasons I do it. I want to be able to, you know, still be able to walk up the steps. I always joke about this. Like if somebody's chasing me, if somebody's dog gets off the leash, I want to be able to jog up a few steps real quick if I need to, or take them 2 at a time, right? If I got a couple grocery bags, I need to be able to just bring them jumps in at the same time. Little things like that. But like stuff like, you know, keeping your mobility. Like even if you did a routine that was only a mobility routine, that would serve you as well because you would be, you know, keeping your body moving. You know what I mean? So yeah, and I always like knew, like, even though I wasn't like terribly unhealthy, like I had moments where I was overweight and stuff like that, but I always knew that I've got to get this shit together because you just can't keep on like so many more fast food places come up. People are making things with extra sauces, and they're mixing things and making it, a bacon, sausage, chorizo, omelet. Like, you need all three of those things. Like, the food is just getting so much different or whatever. So I just always knew I had to go back to how we grew up eating, which is pretty much just, like, mommy wasn't letting us eat out all the time. She was cooking at home. Like, we were eating lots of vegetables and things like that. And so that's basically what I tried to go back to. Like, yeah, do I go out? Yes. There's so many great restaurants. I will be, going out from time to time, but I really try to cook at home, because that's the key. You know what's going in your food. I still have stuff that, like, I don't eat perfect, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
if I know that most of the stuff that I'm eating is on the good side, then I'm happy with that or whatever. But yeah, we have to just listen. We just gotta face it. After 40, I mean, really before 40, but especially at 40, you just need to swallow the pill that is, you have to include exercise in your routine, and you have to pay attention to what you're eating. That's just it. It's just swallow that pill. Just understand that you can't get around it. Okay, you
Yeah.
can't. So, um, now I want to say really quick too. That's kind of where I come in. Like, I'm a mindset and fitness coach, but I'm not really focused. I focus on fitness, but it's really about the mindset, because you have to develop the mindset of why you're doing this, right? Like, how are you going to create this habit? Because once you create the habit, then you can go on and join whatever gym you want to join, do whatever, P90X or whatever it is you want to do. But if you are having trouble getting started, it's your mindset. It's what you're telling yourself, what you're believing, like, why wouldn't you do something that's good for your body, right? And so you're not going to figure that out and create the habit until you actually be real with yourself and be like, you know what, I know exactly how I got here. I know exactly what I need to do. Why am I not doing it? And a lot of times it's because their why is not realistic. And I say realistic because it's like, oh, I want to lose weight because I got an event coming up, or oh, I want to lose weight because I'm overweight. Like, those are like surfacey answers, right? Like what we just talked about. I want to be able to move my body. I want to be able to bend and reach, and I don't want to fall and get a broken hip because I lost my balance, because things like that. Like, my why is that I want to be around to see my grandkids. I want to be able to, enjoy life, right? So when I do get into the routine of working out, because you're gonna lose motivation, right? And so you have to be able to have created the habit just to be consistent. And that why, if it's big enough and strong enough, will bring you back and be like, oh, okay, you know what? I'm doing this for my grandkids. I'm doing this for my future kids. I'm doing this for, you know what I'm saying? Instead of being like, oh, I want to fit into that outfit, because you're going to end up being like, fuck that outfit. I'll just buy another size. You know what I mean? So that's why I say it's really all about mindset. It's all about feeling good about yourself. And people always laugh when I be like, don't down talk yourself. And it's like, oh, well, that doesn't matter. It's like, okay, well, if it doesn't matter, why would you tell somebody not to cuss around your kids? Why would you do that? Because you feel like it's going to influence your kid. Now, of course, we're not kids, but if you're in a certain environment and somebody keeps saying something to you, eventually it's going to affect you one way or the other, right? So if you had a person coming to you every day telling you, yeah, you're fat, oh, you're fat, oh, you're fat, like, you would probably be like, that person's mean. But that person is usually yourself. You're talking to yourself like that every day, and not realizing that it's now ingrained in your head because you keep saying that. Everything that you're looking at, you're judging it like that. You're comparing yourself. So that's why I say that people just kind of sleep on the fact of how strong their mind is, even when it comes to the negative stuff that they don't think is affecting them. So like I said, it's all about mindset. Once you get your mindset right, it doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter what you do. Like, I don't even complete my workouts all the time, but I do work out for the time that I set for myself. And however I struggle through it, hey, good job. We came and we showed up today. Every day's not going to be the same, but the goal was to just show up for the time that we say we were going to show up. We did that. So that's consistency, right? And so that's the whole thing. Like, people have this thought in their head and they're like, oh, I'm going to work out. I'm going to be working out for these days for this long. And the minute you fuck up, it's like, oh, damn, well, I done fell off. And it's like, no, like, go back. You know what I'm saying? Like, that happened, but that's why it goes back to mindset, because you got to be able to talk to yourself that way versus telling yourself, you ate too much, you're fat, you're ugly, you're, whatever the words are that people use thinking that they don't matter, like you would not accept that if somebody came up to you and said those things, So anyway, I'm off my
No,
soapbox.
that's so true. I was just gonna back you right up on that because we talk about all the time about how we act out of our beliefs, and a lot of times we don't recognize the patterns that go into like the reinforcement of like even trauma that happened or negativity that we're so susceptible to. Like if you're looking in your life and you're witnessing that you don't have the circumstances or results that you desire, it's probably because your beliefs are a certain way that keep getting this outcome, right? It's possible that it's another way. I'm not talking about every single person ever, but the majority of people, the way it works is whatever you're doing is creating your life, and whatever you're telling yourself and whatever you're believing is impacting your actions. You're acting out of your beliefs. So even if you desire to be better and you're doing whatever it is that you feel like doing, you're going to create the same circumstance that you had until you desire higher, right? And so like, well, even when we see, like, I'm looking at this picture right now of like, this is what happens when you give up exercise, and this guy, like the muscle mass of a 35-year-old, which is a lot, and then you go to a 55-year-old, and then you go to an 85-year-old. This is like an average, right? And I don't know what that is. I guess it's just like fat and tissue or whatever on the outside, but I can see why people like older or like walking with canes and stuff, because that muscle mass isn't there. We know this information, especially now, those of us who have grown up in the information superhighway, we have this information, and yet we still continue to do the same things that are going to give us these results. And so that's what she's talking about.
We
Mindset.
have the information. You
Yeah.
have all of the resources. You have all of the things that you need to know to start. You have it.
And so
We
when she's
don't
talking
use it.
about mindset, this is what she's saying. I'm just reinforcing it because I'm bringing it from the other side. If you decide that you want something and time has passed and you still don't have it, now you have to go and determine why. And this is where you get into the mindset. This is the conversation that will be unfolding in the months and years to come. But why is it that we are allowing ourselves to get this way, right? Like if we have this information, and maybe our parents had some of this information, but we definitely have this information. We can search for things. We can find things quicker than anybody ever before us in history, and we can create fake things. but we have to pay attention to what's happening to our actual physical bodies and our actual minds and our actual like experiences. And so if we have the chance to do something about it, then why would we let ourselves be unhealthy and live harder lives because we weren't willing to build some healthy habits?
Absolutely.
I'm going to share this other tab while I'm here because we see that muscle mass picture. Keep that in mind. This is a 60-year-old woman and her 92-year-old mom, and they're doing stretches. And you're going to see this lady get all the way down and get to the ground. I've known some 92-year-olds in our family who have now since passed on, but they wasn't doing this.
Wow.
No hater shade to them. I love them, but this is where I want to be. This is the kind of 92 I'm trying to be, because she can get up, she can run away from somebody who's trying to attack her. She can, get down and pick up something that fell on the ground.
There was this lady I forgot her name. It happened in the last couple of years. She's a bodybuilder, and she's like in her 80s, I believe. And somebody had broken into her house or whatever, and she was able to like fight him off or subdue him or something like that. I remember. I can't remember.
I mean, he was shocked. Like, this lady beating my ass. I would love to be that lady. Listen, if it's all for that, that's why I'll do the habit, everybody. Just so I can get to 80-something years old and beat some assailant's ass and have him be shocked. So this so that I can do the news story afterwards. And so I can look in the camera and be like, that's right, everybody. I'm a grandma and I beat somebody's ass.
His life.
That was so funny. But anyway, all right, guys, we're going to leave you there because we have so much that's cooking for you. and we are so excited of all the stuff that we have that we're going to come back. You're not going to see us for a while. We're going to wish you a fun summer. You might see us. I'm not going to lie. Like, we might possibly go live sometimes. I'm not going to lie. There's some things that when they happen, we have to react to. Like, it's just, we cannot control that. So, but for all intents and purposes,
we don't know what's going to happen.
We don't know what's going to happen. For all intents and purposes, we're going to go ahead and put an end to this season, and we're cooking up something extra special for you that's going to be coming in the fall, and I'll turn it over to my sister.
Absolutely. Stay tuned for what we have coming in the fall. I will still be uploading videos to this channel because it's a bunch of stuff that I've watched that I need to review. I will be talking about the Tyler Perry movie, and if you get to watch it, maybe that'll be something that we do off the cuff together, whatever, but I will be talking about that. So, but just those two sisters, Thursday Night Live, we're going to take a hiatus until the fall when we come back with our new season. And I feel like y'all are going to love the new season. All right.
I know you are. I know you are.
So, and I also wanted to say, okay, in the comments, did I put in your channel down there? Let me just double check it before I say it. I can't.
It's quite all right. I'll come back and comment. I'll come back and comment my channel. I'll put it in the
come back in. I think I put it in there, but I do know I put two things in there. I put my Self-Care Revolution podcast, which is a podcast that's dedicated to incorporating more self-care in your life, especially if you're a woman over 40. So definitely subscribe to the podcast if you want to hear more about, tips and things about overall well-being, transforming your habits, and stuff like that. Also, I was gonna say follow you because I feel like I put your channel. Yes, I'm a unicorn in the other part, but I can't bring up the description. But we'll come back and you'll leave the comment or whatever. But other than that, I love doing this live, and we could have talked about so many more
topics, y'all. It's ridiculous.
But we'll just have to revisit it. But yeah. Anyway. That's all I have. Do you have any last?
I have nothing else. I thank you so much. I'm so grateful to see, to build what we're building, and I can't wait for y'all to see what we have in store. That's all I have to say, everyone.
Yeah, so like, share, and subscribe. And the next video I'm going to upload on this channel is probably going to be the Tyler Perry Divorced in Black. I got to give my review on that because there's too many mixed opinions out here, and I just got to get in and give my thoughts on it. I need you to watch it, though.
I will. I promise I will.
Okay. Because, I've seen all of Tyler Perry's stuff. So I feel like I'm the perfect person to do this because we'll get into that in the video.
All right. I got to watch.
Yes, you got.
Well, we have to do a special on that then, I think. Listen,
I got to hear what you got to say about it. But anyway, that's it for tonight, y'all. Make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe. We'll be back soon. And that's it. Peace, everybody.